and Catherine Price is with us. She's the author of How to Break Up with Your Phone and the founder of ScreenLifeBalance.com. Catherine, good morning.
Morning, Catherine.
We know you saw this film. How concerned were you while watching it?
I mean, I wrote a book about the subject, so it wasn't like a big surprise. I was more just thrilled that this is getting as much attention as it is, and people are putting things together. As the person in the clip you just showed said, I think a lot of people kind of know pieces of this, but it hasn't been assimilated in such a powerful way before.
Well, the idea that you're trying to keep people so engaged online that advertisers have a lot more open road to kind of attract them. I think that was jarring for lay people, but for you, it was, you understood that?
Well, I mean, yes, I did understand that, but I think what's really shocking to most people, and certainly was shocking to me when I didn't know as much about it, is just the fact that it's not the data that we know that we're sharing online. It's not my name and my picture and whatever likes and interests I share consciously. It's my behaviors that are being tracked by algorithms to minuscule levels of detail. And it's those behaviors that are being used against me to show me a very personalized feed that is manipulating my behavior and in some ways removing an element of free will.
All right, okay. we want to talk solutions, Catherine, so we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back, and Catherine is going to talk about ways that we can help break the chain coming up after this.
We are back with the author of How to Break Up with Your Phone, Catherine Price, talking about the Netflix documentary drama everyone is talking about. It's called The Social Dilemma, and how we can all protect ourselves.
Yeah, we want to. The documentary talks about the psychology, Catherine, behind this. And if you were going to give a 101 to somebody who wants to break up with their phone, like, I don't want all my business out there. I don't want someone knowing what I'm thinking. But yet I still want to Google things if I don't know what the source is. So what's a good 101 to sort of wean yourself off?
Well, that's a good question. You need to have a purpose. Right. I think right now part of the issue is that we haven't identified what we actually want to be spending our time on. And that is the number one thing that we need to know if we want to take back control. You want to change out of a desire to change, not by forcing yourself through willpower alone. So I would recommend that people start by educating themselves by watching the movie, which I think is a fantastic start. And then ask yourself, what do you actually care about? What kind of things do you want to spend your time on? What kind of person do you want to be? Which is a question all of us should be asking right now. And then use the answers to those questions as a guiding compass for yourself. For me personally, I've decided to use fun as my guiding compass. I'm actually writing a book about it. And I'm trying to use my definition of fun as a way to decide how I want to behave and interact with the world. I created this thing called the Fun Squad. Viewers are welcome to join on my website if you want to have a way to do that yourself. But it doesn't have to be fun. You can use anything that's meaningful to you, and then base your decisions moment to moment in your day using that compass as your guide. Once you do that and you firmly have that within yourself, you will be inoculated against some of the more negative aspects of social media because you just won't care as much anymore.
Yeah, Catherine, that's such good advice. And I think, one of the things that if we're parents, have to decide is when we give our kids access to technology. And when you read the statistics about anxiety and depression in its correlation to social media, it worries you. I read somewhere that some tech people that work in the tech world, Silicon Valley, do not give their kids technology, and then we are.
Yeah.
What's your advice?
Oh, yeah. You should Google some of the comments that former people from Facebook have said about their own products, including Sean Parker. It's quite shocking. I mean, I think that we all need to wake up to the mental health effects that these apps are having on us. It's not just kids and teenagers, it's us as well. And it's real. I think the first step is to ask yourself how you feel when you're using these apps, and then how you feel afterwards, and how it affects your self-esteem, how your children behave before, during, and after being on these apps, and then have a family conversation about it. Very often I have parents come up to me and ask me, how do I limit my children's time on these various apps? But they don't ask anything about themselves. And I always recommend you start by equaling the playing field by having a conversation as peers with your children about these apps. Talk about what is making you turn to them to begin with. You really want this like validation from random strangers? Is that really what means that you're a valuable person in the world? And again, what do you want to do instead? And once you have this conversation with your family as equals, you can come up with challenges or even games to help you redefine your relationship with these apps in your phones. For example, you can have a challenge. Who can keep social media apps off their phone for a whole week? Who can charge their phone out of their bedroom for a week? Violators get penalized, including parents. Or turn it into like a positive thing where everyone in the family picks something they want to learn about or do in the coming week. and then do it. And if you're a parent, help pay for whatever that is, and then come back at the end of the week and have a conversation about it. Or take a 24-hour break from your devices. I have suggestions for how to do that on my site because it can be hard, but that is a fantastic conversation starter you can do with your family that will get everyone on the same page, motivated to make a change.
I can't believe you had like 15 solutions in that
I
one
know.
answer. That was really, really good. So I have a question. Sometimes we've all had this. I don't know if it's just anecdotal, but we'll be talking about something. I want to buy a mattress. I want this, and then weirdly, and I don't know if it's through magic, it winds up on your feed. You're like, hey, here are like 8 mattresses for
Yes.
sale. Is somebody listening? Like, what's going on?
No, it's actually just magic. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, a couple of things are happening. Well, first of all, if you've got an assistant, a home assistant, Siri, Alexa, yeah, they're listening because you gave them permission to, but it's not like a person's out there listening in most cases. It's the fact that the algorithm is picking up data from us. But honestly, that's not the creepy thing. Like, the idea of your phone listening to you is not the creepy thing. The creepy thing is that your phone doesn't need to listen to you because your phone's or the app's algorithms are so sophisticated, have so much data on you, and more importantly, on data of other people that it is determined are in some way like you, that it layers on top of your past behaviors to then predict what you might do next. And the algorithms have gotten so good at this that in many cases they have a sense, I mean, they don't really have a sense as an algorithm, but they can predict what we're likely to be interested in or do better than we know ourselves. That's the creepy part. And that's when you start to question who's really in control. Is it us or is it the algorithms that are being driven by this data?
Well, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
thank
You did say that they're, you don't know if they're listening, but they're figuring it out in other
Yeah.
ways. And we should point out that several tech companies have actually denied listening in on users' conversations. We have to clarify.
Yes, and we'll have some more of your advice about how to keep screen time down.
Catherine, that was real good.
Thank you
We
so
really
much.
appreciate it. Thank you for being with us today.
On our website, okay.
Thank you for having me.